Hey, hello there garden friends and students. Welcome to my classroom. Today's video I'm going to teach you a little bit about aquaponics. Now aquaponics is a combination between aquaculture, it's like when you raise fish or creatures, sea creatures and aquatic animals in an environment, and then hydroponics, which is like growing plants without soil, and then where you add the nutrition yourself. And we have it here, we actually do an organic hydroponic system. It's a nice tower, I'll show you that later in the video, and it works wonderfully. But with aquaponics, we're actually combining those two things together, and they work wonderfully. In this video, I have 3 different systems here in my classroom that we run. They're all very similar, but each one's a little bit different too. So it'd be interesting to see the differences in how they all work.
Now here's our hydroponic system that we have in our classroom. It's a tower, works really well. Here you see I have a pot with a wicking system, actually works really well. We have it packed full of houseplants right here. Got some chlorophytum right there, some spider plant, but many other varieties as well. And it grows great. We actually have to add nutrient to this though. It's an organic soil profiler, but it works really well in this. So we really do enjoy growing hydroponically. We use a lot of the same materials, the pumps, the hydroton, those expanded clay pebbles, and it works great. You can see this has been left pretty much all summer, but here is the powerhouse of an aquaponic system right here, are the creatures that you utilize that work so well in the system. You can see here some redfin tinfoils. Going up here, you can see the drain and the pumps going up, or the pipes going up from the pump, and the air pipe tubes going in. I have the lights on right now to kind of make it look extra, spicy. But those lights are for when we're growing lettuce and herbs. Normally right now with the houseplants in there, I actually have them turned off. So I'll have this system going with no lights because we're using low light plants like this Dieffenbachia here, and it works great. But when we're growing lettuce and herbs, those LED grow lights work perfect for us. Here you can see our newest system, really pretty, that we had the students build up. You can see the pipe bringing in water there, the hydroton. It's an expanded clay pebble. That's our soil media. Right now I have the house plants growing in there. I don't even need those lights on. Those are typically on just for the lettuce. And you can see here is our 3rd system that we have. And right now I actually am growing food in this one. There's a bunch of red leaf lettuce growing in this system, and it looks really well. It's doing pretty solid. I'm liking where it's at right now.
All right, so now you know what an aquaponic system is. It's a system where you grow plants without soil using animals. In our systems, we use a mixture of fish, and we actually have some crawfish, like crawdads, little crustaceans as well. You can grow fish that look cool, or you can grow fish and animals that you can eat. The fish I have behind me, most of them are like bluegill, red-eared sunfish. There's a couple crappie in there. I do have one algae eater in there, a plecostomus or whatever, a pleco, that keeps the fish tank relatively clean. So most of the stuff in there is actually edible. This system especially, it's actually everything's edible except for the pleco. I wouldn't know if I'd eat that. That might be I'm not sure. But we don't eat them here because it's all a demonstration. But in other systems, aquaponic systems, you can use fish like tilapia, or like here, like you can use bass and bluegill and lots of other fish, freshwater fish that can grow in captivity. They usually do really well in these kind of systems. And what's great for the fish is that the plants and the bacteria that are in the gravel beds actually filter out all the fish waste. So that's actually, let's get to it. How does an aquaponic system work? Really briefly, how an aquaponic system works is that you have fish in here, and then the fish produce waste. They actually are producing waste through their respiratory system as they breathe the water, but actually peeing and defecating in the water. Normally, if I left just the fish in there by themselves and we didn't filter anything out, they'd end up dying in there because they can't live in their own fish waste. It would become toxic, like many other creatures. They can't live in their own waste. It becomes deadly to them. And so it would get really toxic, and then your fish would get sick, and then all of a sudden it would become unlivable. And so when you see people who have aquariums at their homes, which are awesome, I love aquariums, they need filtration. A lot of people have different styles of filtration, and that's very important to keep a healthy tank. What's cool about our systems here is we've never had to do a water change. I only ever add water to our systems, and I've never really had to do a traditional filter because the plants and the gravel bed and the bacteria in there, it is the filter. It's one gigantic biological filter, and actually it works really well. You can see the water in this tank is pretty much crystal clear. Actually, it'd probably look even clearer if I even clean the glass off a little bit more, because the glass might be a little dusty. but the water is like crystal clear. And in almost all my tanks, that's how it looks. And I don't have any filters other than the biological filtration of the plants growing in there. And so that toxic waste, what happens is that it gets converted into usable nutrition by bacteria. Bacteria nibble away at that waste, and they convert it. And it actually takes a couple different conversions for that to even work. But after that, it's converted into like what, nitrites and nitrates, and then it makes what's toxic to the fish, food to the plants. And as the plants pull out that nutrition, that water now is filtered and returns back to the tank crystal clear. Actually, here, let's go behind the tank and I'll show you how the pumps work, because it's actually really, really simple.
All right, so here, this is like the powerhouse of the whole system here. You got the fish in there living, and you got that pump going up. Now, right now, I have my air stone turned off just so you can see everything, but normally that air stone would be bubbling up crazy. You can see the pipe that right there. It's carrying up the water all the way up to our grow bed here. I normally have that fan blowing on these plants. They like that fresh air. Got it turned on and out of the way, but here, you can see that our end pipe right here, it's bringing in the water from our fish tank, from our reservoir down there. And so that water's full of fish waste, full of all that goodness, all the nutrition. And now it's getting pumped into this gravel bed. The gravel bed is actually submerged. The water is constant, has a constant height in there, about 2 inches below the surface of the gravel top. So there's probably like 6 to 8 inches of actual water in this one, because I made it pretty deep. But like I said, there's about 1 inch to 2 inches of dry gravel on top. And then, of course, you have to have a drain at the end. Right here, you can see my standpipe is in here with a drain guard around it. It's got holes I drilled all in it, and it lets water drain from the system. You can see right here, I dig down about 1.5 inches or so, and of course, you can see the water flowing right to this pipe. And inside that pipe, there's another pipe, and I'm going to try to tug on it, but it's really hard. I don't want to pull it up one-handed because it's difficult to do one-handed. But in there's a standpipe it's slurping down water as that water drains in, and that standpipe carries the water down through the bottom, and there he is, and that's the exit. And then the water comes flowing out nice and fast because our pump's good speed. Look, the fish are totally happy with this system. The water goes back into the pump to start all over again, and of course now you have this grow bed, this with lush plants, in this case lettuce, doing quite well.
Now, one of the best parts about aquaponics growing is that you don't have any weeds. You control all the pests. You don't use any pesticides, no herbicides. Actually, this system and all my systems, they're actually beyond organic in a way that we don't even use organic pesticides in our system, just because it would foul up our pumps, it would get in our gravel, and it just wouldn't be ideal for our system. So what we try to do is we try to just create an environment where pests really don't become a problem, and when they do, we'll just remove plants entirely, but we do not spray anything. So this is a zero spray system for us, which is kind of great for people, especially in this system right here. We're actually growing food that myself, the students, and other people might eat, and so we want it extra clean and safe, and which is actually really cool with this system, because these are cold-blooded animals. They don't get E. coli ruminating in their systems. And so what's cool is this water is actually very safe, even though it probably tastes fishy. I could probably drink it without fear of getting E. coli. Same thing with our lettuce. We're growing lettuce right here that's 100% E. coli free because of the way we grow it. Because there's no manure in this system other than the fish waste, and that fish waste comes from a cold-blooded animal, and so they don't have that in their system. So it works out really well.
So now it's harvest time in the aquaponic garden. And so you can see here, I'm just doing a quick demonstration of harvesting this fine lettuce. It's looking really good here. And I'm going to use a cut and come again method, where I'm going to cut it, leave behind about, 1 inch or 2 of that healthy stump behind, let these lights hit that, and it'll actually flush out again. And I can come back in a few weeks and get some more lettuce. Boom, it looks really good. I'll go wash it off. Of course, wash it off. You got to wash it off always.
All right, now here is our latest and greatest aquaponics system. It's a double-decker system. Actually, you can see the lights going on there behind us. I have 4 8-foot grow lights from General Electric, and they do really well for us. And typically, actually, we'd be growing just like our other system I showed you. We actually have all of our systems are designed for growing food, lettuce and herbs and greens, right? That's what we wanted to grow. We have a great culinary program here at our school, and so we work together, and that's what all of our systems were designed to do. But with the current situation right now, and the students not being on campus so much, only one of my systems is growing food that we can share with our students, and then the rest I've actually kind of converted into being gigantic propagation machines for our houseplants, because we do a lot with selling plants, and one of the things that we like to sell a lot and share with our students as well are houseplants. And so this system right here, actually we found out it makes houseplants grow incredible. So I've actually just lately I've been taking cuttings off our houseplants and just jabbing them, just stabbing them right into this gravel. This system flows really good. I got a bunch of fish in this tank, some crawfish as well, a little bit of algae actually, because the algae eater in this tank is so young that it can't keep up right now. But that's not a problem. It's actually, the system is doing really well. The fish are happy, the water's crystal clean, and the plants, as you can see, are growing like never before. And so if you want to grow a system where you don't really necessarily want to have it for food, you want to just have it for aesthetics, aquaponics systems, you can actually grow, ornamental plants really well. Actually, before this video, the plants above me on the second level were had grown so much over the summer and the fall and through the winter that they were actually onto the ground. And so to give this first layer of grow bed layer some space, I actually had to cut all that away so that way air and light can penetrate through. You see I got the lights on now. They're on a timer. So there's a lot of things you can do with controlled kind of growing techniques with your aquaponics system. But like I said, whether it's edibles or ornamentals, I think you'll notice that plants actually grow a bit faster in these systems, kind of sadly, or most plants do depending upon your situation, but like things like lettuce, I can get to grow and mature way faster than if it was outdoors, even the most ideal situations outdoors. Why? Because I can control everything, right? The temperature of the water, the day length especially, and the intensity of the light. So I can manipulate the plants into thinking the days are much longer or anything like that, so I can get them to maturity faster by giving them more intense light energy. Same thing with our house plants. I've noticed that they really have taken to the fact that there's a lot of oxygen in that water. We've churned this up a lot. I've actually kind of learned as I went and learned that you really need to put a lot of air bubbles in there, and you need to disturb that water quite a bit and mix it up, because if you don't, the plant's roots kind of die out, and the fish don't like it and the plants don't like it. And so it's kind of interesting. Sometimes their healths are really connected in that regard. And so what I've done is I've increased the amount of water circulation, and what has happened is it's resulted in tons of root growth, white roots that flush out. And what I've noticed is that when it comes to growing certain plants, like this dumb cane right here, they grow faster than any type of soil that I have in my classroom. And I try out and test a lot of different potting soils for our houseplants, and none of them have compared to actually just growing in the aquaponics system, which is kind of insane, really. But I think just because they're just getting a super good balance of oxygen, water, and nutrition, and whatnot. So it's hard to deny the result. But like I said, normally this is for food, and we have like tons of greens and lettuce and herbs pouring out of it under these lights, these artificial lights. But right now it's just houseplants. And so what's really cool about the lights now is that all the lights that we have here are all LEDs, light emitting diode lights. So what's cool is that they don't really require a ton of electrical power to run, actually very little. So that's what's great about them. They don't get hot or warm. You can put your hand, I put my face on that. It's not gonna hurt me. They all stay relatively cool. And so low energy consumption. They don't create a lot of excess heat. And they're really easy to use, and they come in a lot of varieties. All of my systems each have a different variety from a different company, just so we can kind of test things out. And you might find ones that are for your home or your situation that work perfect for you. And what's cool is that since I started doing this years ago, I've noticed that now the lights have become more affordable, more available, and more people have a lot more knowledge about them. So you're finding everyday folks that are growing at home or have little seed germinating lights, things like that. Same thing, right? And so now imagine growing in your home fresh lettuce and fresh herbs, or having a spot in your house where you could propagate your favorite house plants, just like a pro. Something to think about, right? Because you don't need a massive fish tank like I have here. You can do them in smaller systems. You can do it in a little tub on your back porch. So you can get really creative with an aquaponics system. So I urge you to research as much as possible.
All right, one last look at how this system works. We got the pump bringing up the water through the system. You see the water drains down into the gravel. Gravel's covered in bacteria. The bacteria is breaking down fish waste, all that ammonia into nitrites. Nitrites get broken into nitrates, and that is nutrition for the plants. That water has to keep flowing and drains back through the system. Here I'm going to uncover the drain here to kind of show you how it works. There's the media guard there, keeping all the biggest pieces from clogging up the system. And then inside you have a standpipe. That standpipe is cut to a specific height to keep the water level perfect. That material drains back through the system, now filtered, now having been feeding the plants. That water returns back to the fish, clean as a whistle, ready for them to live in, full of oxygen for them to breathe in, and here you go.
All right, home gardeners, well, that about wraps up this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a lot and now want to learn more about aquaponics, right? The growing plants without soil with fish, right? Or crawfish or other aquatic animals. I hope you learned that aquaponics is cool and can be very effective, but also has its challenges. If you have any questions or comments, please add them or ask. I'd be happy to participate in a discussion about aquaponic growing. Because, like I said, there's some challenges, but there's a lot of benefits to it. And like I said, also, still a lot more to learn. So, from my garden to yours, happy gardening, best wishes.